Our Free and Equal segment tonight, and a mom in Virginia was caught on camera endorsing female genital mutilation. He claimed the practice would stop hypersexuality in girls. The comments by Imam Shakir El Saeed of the Dar al-Haraj Islamic Center come after a Michigan doctor was arrested just last month for performing female genital mutilation. That doctor, also Muslim. This imam in Virginia was placed on leave, but why isn't he facing more serious punishment for encouraging this horrible crime? Watch.
A sunnah for the boys and the honorable thing to do if needed for the girls. And this is something that a Muslim gynecologist can tell you if you need to or not. The Prophet ﷺ, there used to be a lady that used to do this for women, or I mean young girls. And she is expected to only cut the tip of the sexual sensitive part in the girl so that she is not hyper sexually active.
Joining me now from the AHA Foundation, Amanda Parker. Amanda, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Amanda, it's so difficult for me to watch videos like this. I mean, we covered last week or 2 weeks ago the story of the doctor in Michigan who had mutilated the 7-year-old and the 8-year-old girl. This imam, he's supposed to be a religious leader. He's advocating, telling parents who probably listen to him to do this, to mutilate their young girls. And all that's happened to him so far is he's been placed on administrative leave.
Absolutely. We think this is completely outrageous. This is a man who is advocating blatantly for a barbaric form of child abuse, and that is unacceptable. We think that he should be fired immediately. And honestly, this man should be prosecuted for inciting criminal conduct. He's asking people to do something that is illegal in our country. It's illegal in the state of Virginia, and it's absolutely unacceptable.
Right. It's an assault not only on the physical, not only on these girls physically, it's assault on their dignity, on their sexuality, on their very womanhood. And I don't understand why this is separated, I guess. If this imam had been advocating for parents to cut off the hands of their little girls, the hands, which is, by the way, a radical teaching that we see in some Middle Eastern countries. If he had been advocating for that, he'd be prosecuted immediately for inciting child abuse. But we don't hear any calls for that because it's genitals of little girls that he's talking about.
This is something that is really uncomfortable for people to talk about in general in the West, and it's easy for people to think this is something that doesn't happen here. But the fact is that there are more than 500,000 women and girls who are at risk or who have undergone female genital mutilation in the United States. It is happening here, and people need to not look away thinking that this is happening somewhere else. And it's just, I mean, it's inexcusable that someone could advocate for this here.
No, it's a form of torture. These little girls, they're 7 or 8 years old. You know, this happens to them. They're mutilated without permission. They undergo this terrible, you know, I don't even want to call it surgery, but that's essentially what it does to them physically without anesthesia. It's sickening to hear about this. And Amanda, talk about something else. I know that this is a difficult conversation to have. That's why I'm so grateful to you for being here. That's why we try to talk about this, because it needs to be exposed. But tell me about the health, the damages that this causes to women's health, not just the actual mutilation, but down the line in their lives.
Throughout a girl's lifetime, if she has undergone female genital mutilation, she will face lifelong health and psychological consequences. Imagine a girl who has been essentially sewn up in the most extreme form of FGM. They literally sew up the tissue that they have removed so that there's only a small opening. And for that girl to eventually have sex or to have a child, that wound has to be reopened. And again, without anesthesia, and sometimes with a razor blade or a knife or whatever sharp tool is handy. So that is another horrific procedure that they have to undergo. And even if that's not the case, in many cases of FGM, women and girls face infertility, they have fistula, they face complications with menstruation and with sex. It's something that is just really horrific, and that's not even thinking about the psychological consequences that are involved.
Right. That's not even talking about the trauma that these little girls experience when they're held down on the table and this is done to them without their permission in a dark, back alley type of, doctor's office. It's horrible. I have a hard time thinking about it. And I can't even, my heart breaks thinking about these little girls, these 13-year-old girls, when they get their period, excuse me for talking about that on TV, when they get their period and they're not even able to do that safely, a natural function of their body because they've been mutilated. It's absolutely horrible to think about. Amanda, let me ask you about a different case. So that was the imam in Virginia. Then we have the doctor in Michigan. She was indicted about a month ago for performing female genital mutilation on 2 little girls. Dr. Nagarwala is her name. Federal prosecutors have recently revealed, yesterday actually, that it's not just 2 little girls that she performed this on. There could be up to 100 other victims that they don't even know the names of, but that she did this to.
Absolutely. And this is something that we have known has been happening for quite some time. And the fact that they're admitting that they performed procedures on little girls 5 or 6 a year for over a decade, it adds up pretty quickly that there are quite a few girls that are likely impacted. And this is just one doctor in one state.
Right. It's horrifying. Amanda, I appreciate you coming on the show. And for everyone watching, don't be afraid to talk about this. It's not an easy topic to talk about. It's not a fun topic to talk about. This is one of the ultimate forms of child abuse. It's happening right in front of our eyes here in our country, not just somewhere else in the world. People that we know, it's either happened to or they know people that it's happened to. Talk about this, prevent this, protect these little girls. They need us now more than ever. Amanda, I appreciate you coming on the show.